Hey there, Crusaders! Welcome back to Crusade with me, a place where honesty meets hope, and where we wrestle with life's biggest questions in real time together. I'm your host, Dave, and today's episode is entitled Faith in Pieces, What to Do When You're Not Sure What You Believe Anymore. It's not a light conversation, but maybe it's one the most important we've had. Because I'm not here, I'm not there, I am there too. Walking through the fog, asking the hard questions, trying to figure out what it means to be a believer in a world where the very word Christian has become complicated. Well, hello, my queen.
Hello, my love.
How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah, we've had a great day.
Yes, we've got a lot accomplished.
Well, yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Not in our normal order, but there's reasons for that, right?
Yep.
No, that's true. You're right. This episode I've been wanting to do for a while, and it's probably, I don't want to miss, I know sometimes I feel like we probably mislead people a lot with the titles of our episodes, and I don't want that to be the case in this instance. This has certainly been something that I think we've shared on this podcast before, and I've had those thoughts, and I've had a lot of thoughts. And there's just some place, somehow, somewhere, I just think it's a big, big old freaking pot of stinking something. I don't know.
What are you trying to say?
I don't know. There's a lot of stuff rolling around in my head right now, I guess. And I just wanted to talk about it, but that's it. That's, I love discussing theology, right?
Yes, you do.
And I love scripture and how we can tie a lot of that stuff together. And I've shared numerous times on this podcast that I had done that delineation, and I dove in not for a long time, but maybe a year into Taoism and got a lot out of it, and actually was amazed to see the similarities and then I read a lot of the naysayers of even scripture, all right, and just trying to reconcile a lot of different stuff. But anyway, that's kind of the point of this, and honestly, this episode was really your idea. Right, not so much the title. The title is very misleading.
You threw me for a loss. Though.
Yeah, I know, and I feel bad about that. But it's not what. Anyway, I want to talk about this. You shared the social media post, and this goes back to July 9th from a JS Park 3000 on Instagram. Now, this Park, he's a former pastor and a hospital chaplain. And he put it all out there in that post. He said he's not sure anymore if he can even call himself a Christian. Not because he stopped believing, but because of what that label Christian has come to mean in the world. Right? That's truly I'm trying to
Paraphrase here,
yeah. So he talked about how that word had been used to wound, to divide, and to justify abuse, to shame people into silence, or to puff up egos in the name of some imagined moral superiority. And man, I felt that. I just want to say, I really felt that. So I really do appreciate you sharing that. And he also said something that struck me deeply. He said, this label now feels more like a warning to others than a comfort to myself. Let that sink in. I mean, that's serious. And if that's you, if you've felt the same, you're not alone. And we're going to talk about that today.
Can I just point out, since you started talking, a dark cloud cover fell over?
I noticed that because it wouldn't have made our room dark.
Yeah, and the light just got brighter. I don't want to imply what that might mean, but
well, okay, let's. And here comes the sun. Na, 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 na. Okay, so it was just a passing cloud. The life is full of those.
But I love to think that
the timing,
God is blessing this conversation.
So losing your faith, and that's a term that a lot of people throw around. I don't know if that's actually even possible. But maybe I say, or even questioning it can feel like failure, like betrayal. But what if it's actually part of the journey? So here's the truth that many of us never got taught in Sunday school. Faith is not certainty. Faith is the willingness to walk forward even when nothing makes sense. We lose faith because of spiritual abuse, because of hypocrisy, because of deep personal pain. We lose faith because we grow. We see the world through new eyes. We watch people we love suffer. We witness injustice and silence in the face of it. We ask, where is God? And don't get the answer we were promised. And sometimes the people who were supposed to embody God's love become the very reason we walk away. That doesn't mean we're broken. It means we're human.
I was just thinking as you were saying that is it because we put personal emotions on spiritual matters?
Yeah, a lot of times I think a lot of people in this world were raised to believe that their spirituality depended heavily on emotion.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And that's a dangerous game.
Mm-hmm.
That is a dangerous game.
Yes.
Now, let me tell you another dangerous game, to be just the opposite and say, oh, we have to have proof, we have to have this, we have to have, we're able to connect every dot, and it's the legalistic, the legal system of spirituality. Been there, done that, right?
Right.
It's tough. This is a tough subject. This is hard, and that's good. That's what we gotta talk about, hard things, right? We don't talk about hard things enough in this world enough. All right, I was raised to absolutely believe that the Bible was an inspired word of God. I believe in the core, in the center of the scriptures, that is the truth. What we have today, I'm not 100% confident. I think there's enough of what God wants us to know in there. Keep in mind, this was written by a small group over the span of 1,000 years, or thousands of years. So, can there be human error? Well, yes, there can. Can there be human influence is the bigger, tougher question. What is in work, and we have, obviously, I've been around working with unions for a long time, and we have what's called a CBA, a collective bargaining agreement, or they have. And as a company, we have to honor those CBAs. We signed them, right? We say, okay, we agree to this collective bargaining agreement. Those CBAs are generally written fairly general. When I say fairly general, they don't explicitly denote or make note of every possible scenario and situation that might arise, right?
Right.
So then we have to go back to the union, or the union will generally come to us and say, we want to file a grievance on this, and we want to file. Well, no, because when we negotiated this is kind of what we were talking about, and it was in the. We wrote this, even though it doesn't talk about this explicitly, but it was in the spirit of what we were discussing and writing. This is the outcome. Now you're trying to change it and say something else. So I think we sometimes need to do that with sacred scriptures. What was the spirit that it was written in? Mm-hmm. Not what we're reading today. What was the spirit that it was written in? Mm-hmm. And that's the beauty that I find, that when I can't, the number of times you and I talked about how it kind of blew me away about when I did the deeper dive into Taoism, how they were so comparative to Christianity or Judaism. And then I was just recently reading this pretty in-depth writing article. It was a study paper from a guy that studied. He was a Jew. He followed Judaism. Let me put it that way. But he was relating that to Hinduism and the similarities between Judaism and Hinduism, which I'm like, okay, this doesn't even begin to make sense to me. Because to me, I thought initially they're worlds apart. Mm-hmm. But as I was reading this article, I'm like, wow. Mm-hmm. And wow. And you know, Hindu is where we get all of the stuff about chakras, right? You know, we have the 7 chakras. In Taoism, they will talk more about meridians. We have the meridians that run through us that are the energy channels. Well, and in Hinduism, it's the chakras. So that's more yoga type language versus the meridians are more martial arts type language. And that's me, that with very little understanding of either one, making that statement. So I don't even know if that's right or not. But how the center chakra here, and I can't remember what they call it in Hindu, but in Taoism, they call it now excuse me, I think they call it the kata. It's this, they consider them right here, like your belly button area. That's where everything comes from, and that's actually where you store a lot of energy, and including sexual energy. All right. So as all this energy moves through these meridians, it can be stored there. Well, the Hindus they call it a different term, and it looks a little bit differently, but they call it something similar, right? Well, this gentleman is relaying this to in Judaism. Guess what they call this? He says this is the Holy of Holies. In the temple.
That tracks.
Yeah, but okay. You see how that tracks?
Right.
Okay, that's a little bizarre, is it not? Mm-hmm. So, but that's the way my mind works, right? So then, and something struck me last weekend, or it might not have been last weekend. It might have been the 4th of July weekend. We were sitting there, it couldn't have been, well, it might have been that Saturday after 4th of July. Remember we were watching that special, that documentary on Sitting Bull? Mm-hmm. So he was a Lakota leader, and they kind of considered him a holy man, right? Mm-hmm. So you want to talk about a deep spiritual connection without institutional religion? Look no further. Mm-hmm. The Lakota didn't build cathedrals. They didn't publish creeds. They listened to the wind. They prayed. And with their feet in the dirt, they communed with the spirit world through quiet, reverent, living practices. They didn't separate spirit from daily life. It was all woven together. Not segmented into Sunday morning and the rest of the week, right?
Right.
And yet, ironically, this kind of spirituality was labeled as pagan, savage, and backward by the same institutions that claimed to follow Christ. The same Christ who spent most of his ministry outside the walls of the temple. And it made me wonder, what do we gain? What do we lose by clinging to labels and institutions rather than real connection? That's all I'm saying. And I feel like that's what J.S. Park was trying to elicit and say.
Right.
There are huge, there are huge problems on either, no matter what camp you're in, whether it's right or left or atheist or Gnostic or faithful, devout Christian or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
For lack of a better term, there's atrocities from either camp.
Right.
And I probably use that word way too harshly, the word atrocity, but maybe not that far off the mark. I mean, seriously.
Mm-hmm.
That's just stuff I think about, right? That's the type of shit that floats around in my head. And I'm like,
Right.
So I'm not questioning my faith. I have a faith. I have a...
Right. And I don't think that's what he was
and he was not
either.
I agree with you.
Right.
I read that and I didn't, and I hope I summarized it okay.
Right. Yeah. I mean, this is a man I've been following for, I don't know, like a year and a half, and he's a wonderful writer. And it hits me. The things that he says hits me. And I just think he's a wonderfully compassionate man to do what he does. He mostly chaplains to people who are dying.
Right.
And so he is there at the end of most people's
lives,
end of life.
Mm-hmm.
And he is offering them something, some compassion and
Correct.
friendship and something. And these are people from all walks of life.
Correct. They're not all Christians.
And mostly he's offering them kindness. And
dare I say connection?
yes,
Because I think that's crucially important.
a much better word. And I don't know what form of attack he's under, what he's getting. He didn't really get specific about it, but just because of his label, the other label he had before he had Christian was follower of Jesus or Jesus follower, one of those. And then he had changed it, and now he's dropped that because it's just having that is a label. And on the flip side of
and the
that,
lightning rod
is a lightning rod. Is that it's other Christians who are attacking him.
Well, and that's sad. That's huge. Well, they're attacking him, I think, for taking it down. One of the other reasons he claimed to have taken it down was because he felt like Christians could come to him comfortably knowing that, okay, we both are Christians and say some of the most misogynistic or racist things, and it's okay because we're Christians. And it's other. And that's a sad commentary. That is a very, very sad commentary.
So I just feel for him because I know he's also. I mean, and you can follow. I follow him on Instagram. You can find him, read some of his, earlier posts. I know he's also understandably suffered from depression. I just feel for this man. I pray for this man, from multiple reasons. But yeah, it struck me, and I read it to you, and
Yep.
and here we are.
So let's be real, right? Christian is a label. So is atheist. So is agnostic. So is progressive or Orthodox or Baptist, whatever. Spiritual but not religious, right? We've heard that. That's a label. These labels can help people find community, but they can also become weapons or walls. And I guess that's really what I want to talk about. That they start to define who's in, who's out,
It's high school.
who's right,
Who's wrong?
who's wrong. And pretty soon the label becomes more important than the life. Jesus didn't say, you'll know them by their labels, right? Jesus did say, you'll know them by their fruits. That is written in Matthew 7:16. So maybe the real question is, am I living in a way that bears good fruit? Am I growing in love, peace, kindness, humility, service? Because I'd rather be a nameless branch on the tree of life than a loud voice defending a dying institution. So let's get practical. If you're deconstructing, or if you've watched someone you love walk away, what do you do? Give yourself permission to ask everything. Jesus never shamed a questioner. In fact, he was the questioner at times. Who do you say that I am? Right? Ditch the shame. You're not weak for wrestling. Jacob wrestled with God and walked away blessed. Find a faith that fits the size of your soul today. Maybe it's just a breath prayer. Maybe it's a walk in the woods. Maybe it's being fully present with someone in pain. And look for beauty. That's where I find God most these days. Not in debates or dogma, but in sunsets. In my wife's voice. In laughter with a stranger. And do not stop being kind. Even if you drop the label Christian, please don't drop the Christ-like. my love,
Yes.
would you like to
I was
give a little reflection of your own? I know we've talked about a couple things.
I was just going to relate a story that I guess is relatable.
Yes,
Um,
convenient.
I mean, we, in a roundabout way, we've told the story about when we outgrew one of our religions.
Yes.
And so we were leaving at a time where we had planted many seeds.
Well, hold on. Let's back. I want to clarify a couple things. We didn't outgrow a religion. We outgrew a church, a congregation.
Yes,
for lack of a
but
better
we
term.
were
We weren't.
leaving and going under the guidance of the pastor, and
Correct.
he had told us that we should go to another
Look
type
elsewhere.
of church.
Right.
Yeah. For our children. And
Mm-hmm.
anyways, so one of the elderly women decided to write us a letter
Yes.
and shame us. And because we had planted some seeds,
Mm-hmm.
and we were kind of
We had connected.
we
with some
had
people.
connected with some people, and we were had led some people to the Lord, and you had baptized
Mm-hmm.
actually her son-in-law, who was probably our age now at that time.
Right.
And we were laying some groundwork with a gentleman there
Who never came. We
who never came.
to his wife.
Yeah, through his wife. And so us leaving in her mind meant the work was done and he would be abandoned,
Right.
even though his wife was a faithful member. And there was still, a church
Or 50 people
of
or
50
so.
or so there, and they were free to pick up where we left off. And just because we were leaving that church did not mean we were going to be leaving that man. We were still
No.
friends.
Right.
And
Right. Exactly.
but
right.
she wrote this very eloquent letter telling us what horrible human beings we were for abandoning him. And it was very, very hurtful because, we were brought up to, honor our elders and
Mm-hmm.
and not be disrespectful. So, I mean, of course, I was personally crushed, but I did not respond in any kind of unkind way, or I don't think I responded at all. But that was, it was we were shamed, and it hurt.
Right.
But I was also mystified that she put that kind of responsibility on us and us alone. That somehow we were.
That was manipulation. It was absolutely manipulation and shaming.
Wow.
And but guess what? Churches, sadly, this is
good
one of
at
the
that.
downfalls. That's their market. That's where they operate the best.
Mm-hmm.
Manipulation and shame.
Yeah. So that was that. But I just I'm sure there's no way that J.S. Spark is listening to this, but just on some kind of off chance that this ever made it big, I would just say that, we see him. He is seen and
Correct. And heard.
heard. And
It's one thing to be seen. It's another thing to be heard.
yeah. Well, I've commented
And
on
we've heard him.
yeah.
Right.
I mean, I've commented before when he was going through some depression, and I don't comment on anybody's stuff really ever, especially people I don't know. I mean, I comment on
Right.
people I know, and I did put on there that I see him because, depression and that kind of stuff for obvious reasons. For a podcast we did last week, I am very vocal about those kind of
Exactly right.
things. So I did comment on his post that time, but yeah, this resonated. I mean, it resonated not because I because of that one little story I just told, but because I
No.
think this is a big thing, and I think either in politics or in the mega churches or any churches, this is just people just feel the need to comment or put their input, and you just see it happening all the time. And I guess because I know you tell me all the time, why are you surprised by anything? But I am always taken aback when people feel the need to insert themselves in something that does not concern them or apply to them. And I don't know why I'm always surprised, but when I read that this week, it grieved me that
I've always said, it amazes me the people that have this imaginary stable full of horses, because most of the time they ain't got a horse in that race, but they like to act like they do.
yeah,
But yeah.
you said that to our daughter when she called off her wedding and
Yes.
went to before they decided to go elope. But yeah, I mean, they almost broke up because of people who didn't have a horse in the race, but wanted to have a comment or have
an
input.
opinion about
what was going
how
to
the
happen.
wedding should go.
Yeah. So we were robbed of a wedding because
No, we weren't.
we were
I
robbed
thought
of
we
a
had
wedding
great
in our
time.
hometown church.
Yeah, we were that. But
Because
I thought it went. I don't think it could have gone better than it did. It went. I love that because the alternative would have not been good for you.
and it's nothing unfamiliar than most other people, but my parents were robbed.
Yes, they were. I will agree with that.
Your mother was
parents,
robbed.
my mom was robbed. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So what are we to make of all of this? All right. That's
You're going to tell
honestly.
us.
Well, no, I don't. I don't fully know, and that
Duct tape?
maybe that's the point. Well, and I was thinking back,
Breaking
as you
fingers?
were talking. Let's talk about the episode we did a couple Sundays ago called Common Ground, right? Mm-hmm. We really need to listen to that often and keep that in the forefront of our minds. But so maybe crusading doesn't mean fighting for the right label anymore, all right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it means showing up for people,
Yes.
listening,
Yes.
holding space,
Yes.
calling out injustice, and calling each other home to love.
Yes.
So maybe it means walking like Sitting Bull, connected, grounded, unshaken by systems, and unafraid of silence. So if your faith is in pieces, don't panic.
Pick them up.
God is not afraid of broken things.
No.
Right. He builds temples out of rubble. He builds resurrection out of death. You may not know exactly what you believe anymore. But if you're seeking, if you're still showing up with kindness and honesty, I believe you're on holy ground.
Mm.
And wherever you are on that journey, you are welcome here. Thanks for being with us today. This was episode 92 of Crusade with me. I'm Dave, and I'm still walking, still learning, still believing, even when it looks different than before. And until next time, stay kind, stay curious, stay human, and as always, crusade with me.